All right, so continuing on from the setup lesson, which was really good. I feel like we changed climates. It was 2 days ago. It's freezing now.
But it is the tundra today.
We're not going to complain because when I fly home, it's like -20. So
yeah,
this is still fine. Setup lesson was great. I think super simple. A bunch of messages I got just said like a lot of people aren't aware of what their setup looks like until someone like you makes them aware of it.
Yeah.
And I was the same way. Like I couldn't believe how sloppy I had gotten with that setup.
Yeah, and I think especially in a setup change, use a mirror, use the video, something, because you'll feel like they'll say, oh, I feel so much this way. Like for you, it would have been forward.
I felt like I had to really get this way.
Yeah, but then you just use your checkpoint because it could be a week, 2 weeks, then you start overdoing it, then it can cause other things. So just making sure you're on top of that stuff.
So once we got that kind of sorted out later on in that session, you kind of told me that you noticed something in my backswing to do with my lead arm and the rotation of my body. So
yeah, lots of golfers have, just hanging out with the guys in the gym, the tendency is that this side, the lead side, starts to overwork and the trail side is underworking. So for Matt, that was causing the hands to get too much behind his pivot.
Right.
And then as he came down, it would be tough for him to get the hand path enough around because it was so deep. So we just played around with the idea of something between your arms. So today we just have this.
We'll use this in place. So I do have a smart ball, but I'm traveling. I totally forgot to throw it in my bag.
Yeah,
and
so
it's one of my favorite training aids, the Tour Striker one. I just didn't happen to bring it, but this will do kind of as a placeholder.
Exactly, yeah. Just something to keep the arms in sync and in front of you. So for him, the idea that now, actually face the camera for this, Matt, because I think it's good. So when he was getting to the top, you ended up seeing this whole lat get really stretched all the way around, and this trail shoulder didn't really do anything. So now the shoulders are more matched. This, you feel it back here more?
I do, yeah.
Under the your trail side?
And before I was more like this almost, right?
Yeah.
Like compressing my arm against my body.
That's right, yeah. His lead arm adduction was getting super high. So now this is, from that position, he doesn't have to work as hard on the way down to get, rotation and get the hands to come around him.
Makes sense. So let's try a couple like this and I'm curious what the TrackMan numbers will be. So yesterday I included a few of the swings.
Yeah.
The pass were like 5, 6, even at times 7.
Yeah, in out, yes.
Which is obviously not what anyone wants with an 8-iron. So I got 7-iron today. So hopefully see this closer to what, 3, 2?
Yeah, I think for you, like small draws, if we get them, in that 2 range, I'd be thrilled.
And so one thing we talked about a little bit is I've got to feel the swing overall is a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
Because the turn really completes itself around here.
Yes.
And everything from here onward was just me adding extra length.
Right. And obviously we sort of mentioned it just in passing, the amount of lower body rotation. If you just keep turning your hips, that's going to slack your system. So then you won't really have a tension to stop you.
Yes.
So that will be like part of
I think that's maybe step 3.
I think
we'll
so. Yeah, let's
next.
start with this, and then we'll sort of build off of it.
Sounds
so
good.
It's good setup like we talked about before.
Okay, that looks okay?
Yeah, better.
Okay. Let's try this around 70% here.
I mean, that was flushed. Little active. We talked about that though.
Yeah, so you were mentioning if a person is used to really dropping hands this way, in order to hit decently straight shots, I had to get very active with the hands.
Yeah, a little bit extra release, a little more wrist activity. There's our path.
Wow.
So we got it to 2.
That's
I did check.
different.
I mean, you looked really nice from a setup standpoint too. That's this one.
Yeah, much more neutral. So that's really interesting. So just not getting so deep and back, change that path 4 or 5 degrees.
Yeah, and the great, like there's lots of ways to do it. I'm not a big fan of like the idea that, oh, you're gonna change path by just moving your hands more across the ball, because I think that can cause issues. So it's just syncing up, what's gonna change what.
Right.
So that was more a reaction than you trying to do it.
I definitely wasn't thinking about swinging right. I was just honestly just thinking about keeping, not pressure, but just keeping this ball sort of in place.
Good, might have slipped a little bit. Still good numbers.
Ignore contact there. I was gonna ask you, and I saw you do this with some of your juniors. Sometimes you do drills like this. Is it good to just literally tee a ball up half an inch so you don't get...
100%. It just gives you more trust, so you don't have to be so perfect,
Because that swing, as you said, the motion was good. I obviously hit 4 inches behind the ball, but...
Yeah, oh, that could have been set up. Let me just check to make sure. Yeah, great.
Yeah, it just
I mean,
feels,
that's so different. Oh my
feels
goodness.
really, really nice.
Yeah.
So the ease of using something like this, and obviously, like, I do encourage people to get the Tour Striker ball because
A great training aid.
it's a great
Yeah.
training aid, but you can use other stuff in a pinch if maybe you can't get that, you know, to where you are or shipping or whatever.
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
save some money, I get it. But
Yeah.
it is a really good way of doing it. But
Super simple. Watch this too. From the, watch how sync this top is to transition. See how the hand path like
interesting.
It was definitely more synced with your pivot. Look at your amount of back I see
He's
there.
actually moving through it.
How different is that?
That's really cool, man.
Yeah. That's awesome. And then, like, obviously we talked about the hips and some footwork stuff that we can tidy up, but definitely a great starting point right there.
So I love this. So far, just in kind of the half hour we spent together, a little bit of this.
Yeah.
Keeping my setup from, I was starting like this before.
Yes.
And now I'm just going to do a lot of work with the smart ball when I get home to keep the arms synced up.
See that? Even that looks so simple, you know?
It is, and I think part of what I'll hopefully start to develop is, I think I rely on creating speed by having a lot of this kind of motion in the backswing. And what I think this will start to force me to do is from here, start using the ground a little bit more and like actually pushing and rotating.
Yeah, like you're gonna separate, instead of separating more this side, you're gonna start separating
more
the other way. Yeah, exactly.
And I think this drill will force you to, because you really can't, and it's good for an overswinger too. Actually, someone sent me a DM and they said, like, what should I do if I really tend to overswing?
Yeah.
I mean, this has got to be a decent drill.
Oh,
for that.
great. Yeah. And then it's always like, usually what you see on video is the after, right? So we want to go, okay, what's causing the overswing? So then, you know, reverse engineering it a little bit, but definitely not going to hurt.
No,
definitely not going to hurt.
Okay, so thanks for watching that, guys. The next video we're going to do, let's talk about this hip motion stuff.
Beautiful.
We're going to do it on your channel.
I love it.
So if you have not subscribed to Tyler McGhee's channel, please go and do that. And then you guys will see part 3 of this session probably later this week.
Yes.
Okay,
Awesome.
Awesome.